Is that tree waving? Oh, no, it's the wind. Okay. Welcome to Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean. You are on Revolution Radio Studio A for those still in primary / elementary school, or Studio A for us adults. I wonder if the A stands for adults. Anywho, it's time for silliness and laughter and talking about serious subjects hidden in jokes, so the alphabet agencies just ignore us. We're a distraction from a distraction, which is distracting. Anywho, it's better than interrupting. Hint, my friend. I've damn. Big thank you to Tony, Why Not, and crew for the Y-Files. Not sure if he calls the show that, but I do, and it's my show now. But he does get my show name right after I told him. Anyway, if you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio and click on the Patreon button and add what you can within reason, because, don't sell the house. You need to live there. Just throwing ideas, prepping. Yeah, it's all about the prepping. And while you're at the website, click on the merch. And Cortek, there's a slight echo. I can hear myself. I mean, my ego is not that big. Or is it? Anyway. We'll get to that in a second. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah, sorry. Buy some merch, because, as the world turns or spins or creates, however you want to say it, the Northern Hemisphere is screaming towards summer. So you can buy T-shirts and caps and so on and so forth out there, and then pop into the chat room and hang out with like-minded, like-hearted, just liked people. The awesome chat room that is. What are the numbers up to? 27. Yep, I'm going to... And just like normal Planet Collingwood, I'll make everyone stop because they're in such awe of the wisdom and comedy that spews forth from our voice.
Oh.
Actually, I'll change the word. The way you said it like that. No, awe. O-R-E.
What you put in a boat?
No, it's A-W, A-W. This English language sucks. I have been joined by Cortek and Raz, my cohorts in merriment. And I'm sure we'll be making fun of a lot of stuff, including the Australian government and tennis. Is there a connection? Let's find out. How are you, chaps?
Thanks.
Good. Yeah.
Oh, calm down.
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I suppose. Another day on Earth again.
I know. This week it's been like, I haven't done anything and I'm tired. Why is that?
Because you're a multi-dimensional being and you're working your bottom off in other realms.
No, it's the celestials, the planets.
No, it sounds better my way. Why aren't you working? I am when I'm sleeping, man.
A bit of both.
There's this line that comes to head, from Spartacus, Batiatus, and the gods spread the cheeks and ram C word in A word.
A docking procedure. Yeah, the docking procedure. Yes. Or as we call it, government policy. I can't do that routine on this show. So come back after hours and I'll tell you my well, I can change the wording. Penis farmers. I know a lot of penis farmers. They farm penis. They sell them to the government, and so they can who also have a butt farmer, and so they place the penis in the butt, and they call that government.
Crazy industry these days.
Yeah, so we hide it in comedy, but did you see those two philosophers go? Yes, quite.
Fiddlesticks.
It's meaningless to argue such procedure because at this point it's breathing. It's if you take it long enough, it's just meh. It's okay.
Well, that's the thing, because I am in Spiritual Anonymous. Hello, my name's Monty. I'm a spiritual being, a fractal of the Prime Creator in a human flesh body, flesh sack, and I'm taking it one day at a time.
Hello, Monty.
Thank you. It's doing well. Like all of today, I've just watched TV programs, not television. No. I sail the high seas and click at a pirate bay.
I don't know how you go finish that sentence. I've been watching some weird and wonderful TV as well.
I've deep. Sorry, I will get to you in a moment, sir. I've been watching TV. Thanks for that.
One channel, just the one channel, same show, on repeat.
Well, I know the words of season 12, episode 9 of The Simpsons now. I did a deep dive in Ted Lasso. Have you heard of that show?
Some coach guy from not the coach guy being a coach from.
I only know Ted.
The Hangover guy.
I'm not sure where he's from. Most likely because I don't delve too far.
Horrible Bosses.
Sure, why not? That's that's a movie I think I've heard of. I've heard of the Hangover. Hangover? Ooh, now the.
No, I was getting that confused.
Let's get my friend Grammatus Rex or Grammar Nazi, whatever the kids call him these days. My point being, after the Hangover, there's 3 films. Shouldn't there be Hangover 1, 2, and really anyway? It's basically the premise is that a American coach comes over to England and coaches a Premier Football League, or as the rest of the world calls it, soccer. So. It's only half-hour long episodes, and it's got heart. There's no woke at all, and this is if you know me, well, how? Because I'm a hermit. What's going on? But my ratings is it actually makes me laugh out loud. That's the quality.
That's a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
Spell that name again. Dead
what?
He's definitely the guy from Horrible Bosses 1 and 2.
Spell the name.
Ted Lasso.
Leslo. Whoa.
Yeah. Lasso.
I think it's on Netflix or something.
Most likely, yeah. Everything's on Netflix at some point. So, I actually saw a tweet saying, "Why don't all the streaming services bundle it together and call it cable?"
Hey.
So it's an American sport comedy drama streaming television series developed by Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. It just if it's your cup of tea, you'll enjoy it. I just want to preface that because in this world of the kaleidoscope of creation, I had someone say, "Oh, you'll love Don't Look Up. You'll laugh," and I'm like,
Chris Pine's in it.
That tripey bit of propaganda.
Yeah. It's unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, dear listener, we have an audience listening. Remember that, chaps.
Nods to Flippy.
Yeah, he's Flippy there. We are flipless at the moment, but we'll wait. My point is, I'm sorry, I'm being distracted. Jer Bear couldn't remember your name, Cortek, and so he thought it was Corset. And like, guess what you're gonna be called for the rest of the show?
That's kind of sexy.
I know. Guess what I do? I wrap around a woman and lift their breasts majestically.
I don't mind that. That's taken me to a wonderful place.
Just remember to mute, my friend. Just remember to mute. We're flipless and fapless on this show. I'd like to point that out. Anywho, where was I? Berlin, 1943. No, that's not right. Don't Look Up. You should watch it because everyone has a different reaction. But it's one of those shows or movies that you have to see once so you understand what it is.
I saw bits and pieces of it, but I like to break the Hollywood spell by not watching either the end or a large section in the middle. So I can kind of have a look at these half-rated things, but I can't let them, complete the spell.
That's the whole thing of, you do what you want to do. Oh,
thanks.
Flippy Collingwood, Monty, you are blind. It's an audio medium, Flip. It's an audio medium. I'm reading the chat, but damn it. I fell into my own hole there. With Don't Look Up, it's worth seeing because I smiled at one idea and I laughed right at the end. This just in from Planet Collingwood. Someone got a bit upset, a bit cranky. The old cranky pants came on because we gave away spoilers of The Matrix Resurrections. So for the rest of the show, we're going to go through other films and ruin them. So,
Isn't the trend not actually to get angry or cross at the person who divulged the message, but the person who I'm trying to apply a Sanj theory to that.
Yeah, don't kill the messenger. It's the message, not the messenger. But the point is, it was out for 3 weeks, and it's the internet. So let's be fair.
That's not a movie. So semantically, we're not spoiling a movie. We're spoiling a collage. I said it.
He's back with his French words again.
I think a number of people have said it doesn't really stack up.
a surprise that French speakers using collage.
Okay.
But I'd like to point out once again that the English language is a third French words. So it's the English. Oh, we can't think of a name.
It's more like half. It's more like half.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
So I'll just the first movie to be spoiled in Titanic, all of them.
God.
The boat sinks. There, I said it. We're ruining movies today, ladies and gentlemen.
Titanic is a simp story.
Yeah, could you expand on that without being rude?
Okay. There's a guy in it who pays for a lady who doesn't sleep with him and sleep with someone else. Am I getting that right?
Well, yeah, there is a love story, and then the old woman throws a very expensive jewel into the sea, and like, what are you doing, woman? And of course, there's not enough room for two of us, so you die. I'm like, oh, that's super.
Apparently, that ring was why the ship sank. It was a cursed ring, apparently, and if she ever took it off, not a lot of people know that's actually why it sunk.
Oh, I thought it was an insurance scam for the elites.
Well, she did own the company.
It would have sunk anyway. There's so many reasons why that sunk, and recently I transcribed a show that talked a lot about it. So yeah, I know.
Yeah, and also it was actually the Olympia with a paint job, because the Olympia was hit by HMNS NQP, whatever the English call their boats, or ship. Sorry for the sailors out there. It's not a bloody boat. It's a vessel.
Apparently, it came down to the size of the windows. You can tell.
Yes, there is difference between the Olympia, because it was made first. There was a trilogy of boats. I can't remember the third one, but the Olympia was hit side on by the Hood, which is a boat, not an angry Scotsman that likes starting fights in alleyways. And but the Hood keeps hitting it. The Hood has a history. I don't know if it's the same boat, but the name, they keep hitting things, which is kind of interesting.
I was thinking of someone in green felt.
You want the real esoteric truth behind it?
Which one? The Olympia?
Yeah, I was going to say
Titanic. Never mind. But keep talking about the Olympia.
I know. I think that whole Olympic story, as most of every single other story in history, is kind of bent when you start looking into it. Nearly all of them are.
But 1,500 people died, so let's not skirt over that. And they locked in the third class, and like, oh, that's just lovely. As well as the point is now leaving my head and wandering away. Damn it!
Welcome to bloody Collingwood.
That tree is still waving. No, it's the wind.
That's one to Monty.
Yeah.
1-0.
Yeah, let's keep it score when you blank out. 1. There was a lot of elites on the Titanic as well. So you know how these people work on multi-layers. A lot of people that would have actually against the Federal Reserve Bank, which when was the Titanic? Was it December? I know it was 1912. Was it December?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was 1912. It was a long time ago. And the Federal Reserve thing is 1913. Still never been audited, but let's not bring
15 April 1912.
Oh yeah, April. Yes. So apparently there was a lot of elites on that who would have opposed the Federal Reserve Bank, and so they happened to die as well.
There were 3 bankers, and what happened was the Titanic was constructed with metal from the Irish Isles, so it was imbued with the Irish energy. And when it started sailing the ocean, it was doing a lot of good to the water, so they had to take it down. And there was this replacement between wood-made ship to metal-made ship, because metal resonance is much higher than wood. Mm-hmm. So they really had to take it down, because Ireland is a place full of timeline wars. Mm-hmm. Actually, the timeline wars in Ireland got so bad, they were about to create additional timeline paradoxes. And if you know anything about timeline paradoxes, just one is bad. And we're already in a...
I've seen Back to the Future 3.
We're already in a mess of timeline paradox. Actually, we're in a over 72 mess in timeline paradox. Mm-hmm. And they were about to create an additional one. So they sunk the Titanic mainly because of that reason. They simply didn't want it in the water, and understand that the water that is on our planet is constantly removed and traded to other planets.
Because it is
So-
very the water is programmable.
Very programmable, and it's traded and it's sent to other planets, and their dirty water is actually back to us, which is quite annoying.
No wonder this planet's stuffed. Anyway, yeah, I can't wait to we graduate and go out into the galaxies. Like,
Hey,
who
that's
are
my
you?
water.
Who are
my water.
That's Earth water there. What would you know? You
Yeah.
funny man. I survived Earth, all right? Oh, hang on. Oh, quick. Would you like a scotch? Sit down. Tell us about this thing. Because we're going to be rock stars once we leave the planet.
Yeah,
we have
should
to
make a
graduate
gang.
first. Yeah.
We should make a
I'll
gang.
have a scotch.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, like, also because we've gone through this experience, our higher spiritual selves, like, you know, if creation goes, what if, I know, I've got an idea. What if we create a free will universe, and then we'll have a free will solar system, because solar is actually the name of the star,
Yeah.
and then have a free will world, and then we'll let people have mind wipes every time they're reincarnated through physical birth, and then we'll put in some type of like little a little virus programming into the simulation, and then they'll get locked there and be an energy farm, and we can say, no, we've done that, never again. No. That question's been answered, my friend. Let's just think. How about a planet full of dope?
I'm
Some
gonna start a gang. I'm gonna call it Paradox Reality Dwellers.
Are you a gang? I don't know. That's the
I'm a
paradox.
one-man gang.
Yeah, I was about to say, how many people does it take to make a gang these days? It takes three or four. Four.
Well, I don't know. What's the government say? Can we congregate more than 3 people?
If they observe the required social distancing, then yes, we can.
Well, yeah, 3D space is pretty distant because we're our closest star, apart from our own sun, of course. Let's pedantic man. Hello.
I want to go on a tangent here because this social thing triggered me.
Okay,
All right.
just pause for a second because I know someone's going, well, how far's the next sun? 4 light years. That's a
Okay.
lot of space.
That's
And of course, my cat's got perfect timing. Yeah,
Centauri
yeah.
what?
Alpha Centauri. I have to go
Alpha.
deal with my cat, so talk amongst yourselves.
Alpha Centauri. We are Centauri. Call me Pasoleati from Babylon 5. So yeah.
I'd like to think that, it was something as great as some struggle that went on in the bridge of the Titanic over water supplies of our supplies going to another planet, but I'm pretty sure it was just over money, like everything else.
Yeah. Well, there's a physical layer to it and a multidimensional layer to it. And in the physical layer, the guy who was the captain was well aware of the impending danger, and there was a lot of kerfuffle before they set sail as to where they're going and what's going to happen. They knew very well what was going to happen. The whole course was set for the iceberg to sunk it. It was not something that, like in Pokemon, a wild iceberg appeared and just boom. No. They knew exactly what was going on. So yeah.
Yeah, I bet on the iceberg. I'll also like to point out the cat has been fed, and in about 4.5 minutes I'll have to let her out again. So I don't know. I keep buying her watches. Won't wear it.
So yeah, I
You
wanted
need
to
to,
talk about,
you need to get one of those Fitbits. Sorry, go on.
so yeah, I wanted to talk about this. Long ago, we used to call certain social networking sites, so SNS. So they reduced it to social distancing. Okay. Then we called it social media, which is again utterly ridiculous. Now we're using the term social distancing. There's a lot of, if there was a word that deserves some form of, social services taking it for abuse, it's the word social.
That is
I don't
true.
know.
Yeah.
We've got to be careful not to ostracize these things and throw the
See,
baby out with the bathwater.
Well, I have been I think it's 8 years now. 7 or 8 years I've been a hermit. Our first meeting's in 3 years. And so, social distancing, it's like, no, it's physical distancing, and I've been performing it for a while. And that's the interesting thing right now. Like, there was an article here in Victoria where there isn't any lockdown, but a lot of Victorians are staying home. It's like, yeah, because it's shite out there. It's utter. Because
It really is like tuning into free-to-air TV. Sometimes there, for maybe fireworks or whatever happens, so there's something event that makes me tune into free-to-air TV and actually engage with this fake ass, reality that's on TV and all the media, and it's the same as going up the shops now almost. It's like this is just let's hope it blows over.
Well, you see, but you think I have been nicknamed the lazy Time Lord, and it's like, it's 2 years. It's most likely there is a prediction that this COVID narrative will dissipate. That's a big word that I can't spell.
None of it makes sense.
The end of 2023. Now the thing is, I can understand why, because the United States seems to be, they're a cultural superpower. We'll say it that way. And they've got elections coming up. So you've got midterms at the end of this year, and you're going to see narrative change from their outcomes.
Who do you reckon's going to win the next one? What's her name? Witchy Clinton? What's her name? Witchy?
Well, so I mean, just before I get to Hillary.
I just spit up in my mouth.
A bit of bile in the mouth. Bit of bile in the then you got 24. Then after the middle midterms at the start of 2023, you'll have campaigning for 2024, because for 2 years, and it's a brilliant idea because they wear you down. There's constant campaigning. Like apparently, governments keep, like here in Australia and Victoria. I know they're in two places, but there's two different governments. I have no idea what's going on because I ignore them now. So, but there is that strange thing of like the Babylon Bee joked that Kamala Harris's approval rating is so bad she'll turn to Hillary Clinton for help, and then 3 weeks later, Kamala Harris turned to Hillary Clinton for help, and so there's an idea of bringing her back in because she may win the election, and I'm like, yeah, if you cheat like the last time, yeah,
sure, you can win anything that no one will watch.
Yeah, because like she's just back crazy, yeah. And Trump's doing well. He started doing appearances, and the crowds. It looks like Led Zeppelin's touring again. It really
does look like those kind of numbers when people get out. Just saying this for Pony because he might be out there. Pony was dead set on Barron running. That's his horse in the race. He's
give it a couple of decades, possibly. Well, there is that idea that Barron is a time traveler, so it may not be a couple of decades.
Let's not get that far.
Yeah.
But
there's the cat. Hang on.
It's time for the grooming. Was that the bell? That was the poo bell. Quick. Yeah. Got any cats or dogs, Raz? Good chat.
Cats, eh?
Cats, eh? What are you going to do?
Love them.
Very nice to stroke on the couch.
Yeah, I try not to make pussy jokes because I don't know how people will accept them. I'm just going to go home.
Try one out now. Let's see.
Well, if you remember the TV show Are You Being Served, there was a running gag. It's like Mrs. Slocum's like, I have to go home and stroke my pussy.
Yeah.
For 8 seasons, and so it's. I like to go on the internet and show people my pussy cat. So there has to be a pause and then cat. But after watching Don't Look Up, I realized satire is dead. So it's you just don't know what's jokes and what's not, what's a joke and what isn't now. Even in Ted Lasso, they point that out, where if you keep saying jokes all the time, when you say something serious, it happens to me all the time. Oh, you're a comedian. It's like, no, that was serious. So stop laughing. No, your house is on fire.
That was not meant in a comedic. This is me. This is my serious face telling you something very, very serious. I hate it when comedy actors get on and try and do a serious role. It doesn't work for me.
See, now, depending on the comedian, because I can show you, like, have you seen The Dish?
Not many people can pull it off, that's all. Yeah, the Australian one with the satellites and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of comedians in that because it was made by comedians. The thing is that if you get good actors who are comedians, it's doing the drama is slightly easier because you're not trying to get the laugh.
Or
When you're doing comedy, you need the drama to build the tension. You got the tension, and then you have to get the laugh. And if you're not getting the laugh, you can just play in the drama, and it works. Like, I mean, Jim Carrey's not the best actor in the world, but he kind of is at the same time. Because notice when he stopped doing comedies, a lot of people took a while to go, it's not funny, but he's good at what he can do.
Glenn Robbins, that Australian actor from Comedy Company or whatever way back, there's some people that he does a reasonably serious comedy just by him being there and you looking at his face and you're doing a slight smirk or something, like, you know, there's slight. You can do it, but it's not many people can do it.
It's some people just are naturally funny when they're even playing a straight role, as they say. Yeah. It comes across as not clownish. Like, you know, Jim Biden. That's Joe Biden's clone. There you go. Jim Biden. And hasn't Joe Biden done wonders when he said on MLK Day, like Martin Luther King Jr. Day, George Floyd's death affected the world more than Martin Luther King. And everyone's like, what? What? Someone get him away from 8 children and a microphone.
Oh my God, they let him freestyle again. That should not happen.
It's like, really, he's the leader of the free world. I always thought the aliens would go past Earth and wind up their windows, but now I think they're just they put it in neutral and just laugh as the ship just glides.
Like going past an accident.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, have you seen that meme? It's like, what are you guys watching? Earth 2022. It's getting really weird now.
But since the South Park did that, didn't they? They did one episode where they had the show, and it had all the kind of things going on in politics and, you know, the wars over here. And,
I like the way Will Smith said it in Independence Day. Welcome to Earth. URF. So, Earth. Where are you from? Earth. And it's not Earth. No, URF. Earth.
All right, I got it. Took me a while.
And then you realize how stupid you feel because it's like it's 3 letters and there's one vowel.
Those 3 letters.
Yeah. Earth. Good times.
I like it simple. I like single syllables.
Yeah, well, yeah. Have you noticed that language is going back to hieroglyphics?
Or sigils.
Yeah. It's all about symbolism. Like a symbol is 1,000 words, or the way it's used, and like there's a reason that most fast food restaurants. What am I talking about? Fast food outlets use red in their advertising. I can't remember why.
But there is a reason.
Yeah, it's for whatever reason, yeah.
Kind of alerty. It's kind of danger. It's a 50-50 mix between alert and danger.
Yeah, well, the use of yellow as well. So, yeah, there's a whole rabbit hole that I have no idea. I can't remember of color association, but that comes down to simple. Like, if we knew someone in marketing, we probably would have killed them by now.
Scotty.
Yeah. No. Do I have to take you outside the studio and smack you about the head with a cricket bat?
If Scotty's with me, I'll take one for the team.
No, I think Scotty should take one for our team.
Scotty could take 3. Scotty could take one for you and me, and then we could both give him one just to make up that half each.
I'll give someone one. Yeah. Now, I just for our global audience, I'd like to point out the term Scotty for marketing is the nickname for the Prime Minister of Australia at the moment, because he failed upwards and he came from Tourism Australia, so it's basically marketing, and that's all he's done. And
no, he had a school reunion where his whole high school year told him, made a petition, which is probably 90% of people, and they signed it and said, please don't come. We would like to just have a nice time, please. Please don't come. And he took them to court.
proving
sure
why
that-
they don't.
I'm
Proving
sure
why
that was a fun time for everybody.
Yeah, so why don't you want the plaintiff to actually turn up? Well, he took us to court for starters. Like, Your Honour, example A, he took us
Grubby.
to court because we said a letter saying please don't come.
Grubby,
We were
grubby
being polite.
carrot. Oh.
Yeah, he's boring as bat poo. He was in Hawaii while we burned. Now, I understand people are angry about that. My question is, who was in charge of the country at the time? Because, I'm
Potato
sure
Face.
Potato Face.
Is it?
I don't know. Who's Potato Face? Are you making things up again?
That guy who's got no hair and looks like a giant potato face.
You mean Barnaby
No, he's from the
Joyce?
country. He has a hat on.
No, you're thinking of Kata.
No, he's old country.
And I think, minute 32 is when we lost everyone outside of Australia because we kept giving local references. Wait, what the hell's a Barnaby Joyce? Is that the Chattanooga True?
Look, this guy.
Yeah, just a nod to Sean McAuliffe and Mad as Hell. Let's if you're gonna when I use other oh dear God.
All you have to do is look up Peter Dutton and potato in the one search term, and you'll get many examples of potatoes.
Yeah, or take our word for it and don't, because just no.
Yeah.
It's like
You're not going to feel any better for doing it.
This is Australia's leadership. Here in Victoria, our health system is having a code brown.
You don't want one of those.
Too much comedy to be code brown. Oh, it's gone to shite. Now, it's interesting that because the Premier used to be the health minister 7-8 years ago, and that's when all the trouble started. I wonder if there's a connection. And we're 2 years into a pandemic, and we still having problems with the health system. I mean, obviously, you fire a third of your staff. You've been having lockdown, the most lockdown city on the planet. Which
let's not gloss over the fact that people were kind of not just fired. They lost their jobs because they didn't want to enter into a yearly program. Which is this is not being named as, but it is definitely what it looks like. It's another route, a left turn into the yearly farmer's shop for nothing but profits. No thanks.
Well, it's actually more. It's every 3 months. They've actually put it forward. It's the boosters now can be in 3 months after your second dose, and a study coming out of Israel has said that 4 doses aren't enough to deal with the Omicron variant. So we're going up to 5, ladies and gentlemen. We're up to 5.
Just when you thought the furthest you could go was doubling down, we've got quadrupling down happening right here, right now.
No, what's 5? That's 4.
Quintuple. What's the plural of quintupling?
So Quin's 5.
So what are we up to? 6? No.
No. We're coming up to 5 now. We're just done 4.
I reckon Sigma is the front runner.
Well, the Omega is the last letter in the Greek alphabet. So
that's just wishful thinking, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder after that would they go to the Roman alphabet, because the Greeks were before the Romans.
They have to do something with a certain gravitas, and I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything.
Oh, go back. Gravitas. That doesn't sound like an English word.
Could be. I don't know where that's from.
I don't know. Yeah, see, we just make fun of small bits of information, and we allow our listeners to do their own research on gravitas. All right, sounds a bit Latin.
Entomologically.
Oh, I'm not a doctor. Hey. Here we go.
Wow, Cobra Kai season 4 is the #1 on Netflix all time. What happened?
I think your filters are of the past week or something. It can't be all the time. That's crazy.
Well, no, it's very popular.
Let me see the date.
It's quite
19. No.
I got a lot of time for No Mercy, Johnny.
You'll love him in Cobra Kai because,
I think it's because it's a teenage show, so teenagers and adults and everyone's watching it. And Witcher is second place with 94 million hours.
Didn't mind The Witcher.
Cobra Kai is first place with 120 million hours weekly viewed.
Well, yeah, because people have been catching up. Like they saw the first 3 seasons, and It's done well. It's like they've got legacy characters. It's the same universe, so it's not a reboot.
Yeah.
It's a continuation of the story, but there's a great crossover pollination, big words, of the old school, like the old generation, like from the films, and there's all these new kids as well, and so it's generational.
Raz had a good point that it's cross generational. Like that's something you can sit down with everyone and kind of and watch it. And there's not many shows like that. People seem to be going off and watching what they watch, and we're slowly gravitating to missing out on doing these things, watching these things together and enjoying them together.
Yeah, it's fair. Well, elder, there's swearing in it, so
it's not missing out.
It's not for the 8-year-olds.
People aren't forced around the TV to watch what they want to watch.
Well, yeah, in hindsight, you could call it forced, but back in my day, in the 80s, we only had 4 channels or 5, and there was like a lot of control. Now you've got the internet where, well, you have me as a radio host. So this is the level we're at, people. You have a lot of choice. So when someone says, "Oh, there's nothing to watch," really? Like, how many streaming apps are there now? And they're going to slowly, that war is going to fizzle out as well, because you've got Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu, Stars.
Oh,
I can't.
There's lots.
Yeah, many. Billions and billions. Yeah, and if you're just tuning in and wondering what we're talking about, well, we're a distraction from all the insanity, and so we talk about actual distractions that you get lost in from the insanity, which is
in police academy captain accents.
Oh yes. See, Police Academy fizzled on their 7th movie when they went to Russia.
They could have got 10. I reckon. If they went I thought, who's going to get 7? No one's going to get 7.
Yeah, well, then they didn't have Mahoney in the 7th one, so that's why it didn't really work out.
I couldn't afford it.
Yeah, I don't think I have seen number 7 yet, but that box set's still out there. I've got the Die Hard box set, and apparently the 5th film is when they go to Russia, and it's terrible. Apparently, like I'm seeing a pattern here.
That was kind of weird, that one. I'm not sure if that was a different production house or what was going on. That was off-piste.
Well, it was what, 2010 or 20, Bruce Willis is what, 85?
I think he's 86 this year.
Oh, yeah, well, okay, yeah. He's old. We're joshing around. Apologies to anyone called Josh. Just realised that it's like, that's harmful. Did you just name me? But like the theatrical cut of A Good Day to Die Hard or whatever, they run out of ideas for titles, obviously. They had the daughter in it, and the director's cut doesn't have the daughter in it, which is on the Blu-ray. So I'm hoping they do have the director's cut, because she's a cool character.
She is a cool character.
Yeah. Because she told Daddy to stick it, and then he saved her from death, and like, oh, we'll be friends. Which was in Die Hard 4.0, unless it's called, except in the United States, where it was to live or die hard, which is a wordplay on, I think, North Hampshire, to live and die free or something like that. So we need an American on to go, yes.
Yes, it is.
So we're still going nuts, and I've also started watching the Untold History of the United States by Oliver Stone, and I watched the first one about World War II, and it was a bit nutty in the early 40s with Stalin and Hitler and Mussolini and Hirohito and Winston Churchill and Roosevelt. No idea who the Australian guy was. Thank you for Australian history in schools. Yeah, something happened. Come back tomorrow.
There's a couple in that period that you've never heard of. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I remembered. Monty, you're a Star Wars fan, aren't you?
Yes, you
are. Now,
Is that a loaded
tell
question?
me, did you watch Book of Boba Fett yet?
I think episode 4 is now.
It
or in
is.
the next. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen.
So
3.
you watched it.
I've seen episode 1, 2, and 3, and 3 had spoiler alert. I have to point that out now. So look away from your screens.
No, spoil it. It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't matter.
But yeah, you've got those 4 or 5 speeders, and I was just waiting for colorful, and I was like, are they going to turn into Voltron? That would be awesome.
That would be
What
awesome.
happened to that show? What went wrong in that show? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Because I think it's absolute garbage.
I don't
Which
mind
one?
it.
Which one? Boba Fett?
Yeah, Boba Fett.
I love it. Like Mando was okay to have back, but then as soon as Boba came back, I've got no time for Mando. I've got a lot of time for it. And the second episode was fantastic. Third episode slowed down a little bit, but it's like they're trying.
Like Timur Morrison commented on, he wanted most of the dialogue for his character removed. He thought as a character Boba Fett he had too much dialogue, and he wanted it removed. And the guys were like, no, we're gonna keep the dialogue. You're gonna, he thinks his character talks too much, and his character needs to be a little bit more mysterious and more, bounty hunter instead of just removing his helmet every 5 seconds.
Yeah, but the thing is, from the way they've written it, Boba isn't really a bounty hunter anymore, because from a psychological point of view, he survived the Sarlacc pit. That will change a man. Slowly being digested over 1,000 years. And also when he was on Jabba's barge and that blew up and blah, blah, you think, mate, life choices would probably be made. And then you find out he hung out with the Sand People, and people are going, look, it's about colonialism and species and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a space opera. And you don't have to watch it. You can just watch the first 6 films. And if you just watch those, you'll have a fantastic story. I, on the other hand, watched the 6 films, the 6 seasons of Clone Wars, and some of the Disney stuff, because there's 3 timelines. There's the Lucas timeline, which is just the 6 films and the 6 seasons of Clone Wars. You've got the EU, the Expanded Universe, which is a different timeline for Star Wars. And then you've got the Disney timeline, where it has a bit of a wobble.
So Clone Wars as an animation is okay?
Yeah, I
never watched it because it just seemed like Disneyland. It seemed like Star Wars going downhill and everything just trying to be like formulaic, kind of pump it out kind of thing, Not
really. Well, it just, there's so many stories in the Clone Wars because George couldn't do 3 years of battle. I mean, he realized he wasted too much story time in the first episode. And so episode 2 and 3 were really rushed. And I'm like, but the Clone Wars, the TV show, which is in between 2 and 3, there's now 7 seasons. Season 7's actually part of the Disney timeline. This is why we need a whiteboard.
Yeah.
But
gotta be careful they don't catch up.
But George Lucas is executive producer of the 6 seasons, and so he's the maker, and so it's still Star Wars. Even if it sucks, it's still Star Wars. Even the Ewok movies.
If he's doing it, it's got a certain quality.
Yeah, exactly. So but you don't need to watch it to get the Skywalker saga. Now, a lot of people think the 9 movies are the Skywalker saga because Rey takes the name Skywalker at the end for some stupid reason, but she's a Palpatine, so that's the Palpatine saga. But we know what the sequels are like. They're utter crap.
Don't get me started on Kylo Ren and that little piece of work.
Oh, well, what, an emo with a glow stick?
Oh, so pouty.
Yeah, and then he takes his helmet off and is like, oh, who's this nice Jewish boy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seen that pattern once or twice.
There's something wrong with the way he tense up and gets angry and focus. He's either about to cry or crap his pants. You really can't tell. It's
only one of those two, though.
Yeah, it's only one of those two, and he alternates. And there's the scene where he just shows you get to see him with his abs out, and that's the only time he has a relaxed face. I guess they wrote somewhere in his contract he's a male character and needs to have his abs out, So yeah,
Oh yeah, instead of Kylo, it's Swallow because he was swollen. Very wide man.
it was very very painful to watch his character. Very painful. I think there's him and the Asian lady. I found the most painful characters to watch. I didn't know what happened.
Oh,
with
Rose
it.
Tico. Yeah, Rose Tico. Everyone a lot of people don't like the character because Ryan Johnson. I actually watched the making of The Last Jedi because I need to know why they made this film, and slight bit of information that came out. Oh yeah, we filmed 80% of the first draft. It's like, no, really, can't tell at all. But Rose Tico is supposed to be a character that isn't in the Star Wars universe, and it's like, yeah, we can tell because it doesn't fit at all. Her sister dies. She's only on screen for 3 minutes. She has more character arc and is more awesome than her sister Rose.
Any moment during the making of, you wanted to slap the reins away from Ryan and give him a coloring book instead.
Yeah, give him those the packing bubble things, the bubble wrap. Just give him that so he's occupied for about 4 hours. Yeah.
You're like, all right.
A fidget
all right,
spinner.
Ryan, if you manage to color within the lines, I'll let you write one line.
Yes.
And it guarantee he's gonna F it up.
Guarantee. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, look, I'm subverting your expectations. It's like it's not a Star Wars movie. During the documentary though, Carrie Fisher has one of the best sentences in all of Star Wars, where it's like she says, "Ryan Johnson, he's an asshole." And they kept it in because Carrie's being funny. And it's like you watch it and like, no, she's not. She's actually being serious. But they kept it in. And yeah, that's where that Lady Fisher. I quote her that. So
rest in peace.
I think the whole subverting your expectation is the most Marxist thing and most, how can I put it, creatively bankrupt thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yes.
It's like you order the chicken chow mein and you get these two plain sandwiches and it's like, I subverted your expectation. Well, you were expecting soy sauce and noodle. You got your expectation.
Yes, the example I give is like, you get to chapter 8 of the Bible and it's like, God and Satan, and then all of a sudden it's like Papa Smurf banishes Gargamel to a French part. Like, wait, what? Who? What's going on here?
And the question would be, tell me, Ryan, what exactly was my expectation, you magician? Where's your crystal ball? What did your crystal ball tell you?
Well, I've had that. It's like, oh, you were expecting this and this. And like, no, my only expectation was a good Star Wars movie, and I didn't get that because I was one of the few that didn't like The Force Awakens. I actually had to watch it 6 or 7 times to figure out why people liked it, and I realized, they remade the first one.
For me, what really murdered it was before I watched the movie, I watched this clip on YouTube where someone was filming outside the theater how people were, and there was this teenage girl, and she was crying her eyeballs out, walking, saying they ruined Star Wars. And being the psychic that I am, I accidentally tuned into it, and my God, I felt bad. if a child watched your movie and stepped outside and is crying, then you're truly a piece of crap as a human being.
Well, yeah. When 11-year-olds leave the cinema going, that is utter, just terrible, man. Like, yeah, you failed because Star Wars are like it's. They say, Star Wars is for kids, and what it actually is, Star Wars is made for the eternal 12-year-old. And what I mean by that is like when you could be 55 and still have that inner child, and there's that wonderment. No, that's from George Lucas. I think he knows what he's talking about.
Star Wars, there's the character in Star Wars called Kreia, and Star Wars is actually extremely IQ increasing if you know how to weave in the story. Because there's this part in Kreia, and there's a video on YouTube called Kreia's Philosophy Star Wars, an essay, and the video has like millions of views, where these Star Wars fans made an essay on Kreia and what she thinks, and it details how Kreia as a character explains how all her students, even though they were light side, they always went dark side, and as a character it confused her why, and she decided to explore, and she realized how the dictates of the light side is insufficient as much as the dictate of the dark side is insufficient, and that most of the light side Jedi eventually found themselves lacking and naturally veered towards the dark side. And once they were in the dark side, once they conquered the dark side, they entered this sort of gray zone in between the dark and light, a bit like Kyle Katarn was. You know, he was both dark and light side as a character. And that made him
balance. Yeah,
that made him extremely powerful because Kyle Katarn is up there with what's that character, Chuck Norris? He's a bit like the Chuck Norris of Star Wars, you know.
Star Killer Base. Yeah, Chuck Norris took that out. The thing with George is because he's a big Joseph Campbell student, and that's like the hero of 1,000 Faces. So he used that. But if you look at it, the family interplay, like, describes Star Wars in a bad way. Just one family having issues that happens to be affecting the galaxy, but it's the psychological underpinnings, and that's what the sequel trilogy doesn't have. Any of that psychology. Even if they do, like, they may have an idea. Like, if you explain The Last Jedi, some of the ideas sound good on paper. Then you see how it was executed. Pun intended.
If you ask me, they left it out on purpose. There's too much benefit of the doubt given to these patterns that we see over and over.
And there's no spirituality in it either, because I think the idea is that Kylo isn't fully a dark side user, and he's technically not a Sith, because who's the guy that died? Snoke. He doesn't say he's Sith, and because Sith is just a dark side religion, they're just a dark side user. And the idea with Kylo, they did that whole trope like, oh, there's good in him, but Kylo apparently is flipping between the light and the dark side, and that's why he kills Han Solo, blah blah blah. And they're trying to be clever. Even like Ryan Johnson has said that, but Luke saves his sister. It's the most Jedi thing he could do. It's like, well, that doesn't explain why he walked away from galactic conflict 10 years ago to go on an island and die.
Yeah, and he's an idiot. Okay, thank you. And they only merchandise, the negative sides of what was going on. You couldn't get your favorite heroes. Merchandising's got to be the biggest cherry on top of the cake.
Yeah, well, that's how Lucas built his empire. Pun intended. I'm going well. It's 3 puns already. One blank and 3 puns. Just keep the scoreboard. George, back in the late 70s or mid 70s, 77 when the first film came out, no one really, they had merchandising, but they really didn't think that it would sell anything. So George retained the merchandising rights, and it was so huge. That's where the term blockbuster comes from. I think it's from Star Wars, but that's when a line goes around the block. So that's why it's called a blockbuster.
Lunchboxes, backpacks, action figures.
I had a Empire Strikes Back pillowcase. I think I picked up a couple of those foot-high characters from garage sales here and there. Yeah. And so that's where the merchandising element of things, like, Star Trek used to have it in the 60s. There were some Doctor Who stuff, but when Star Wars hit, because it was so huge, and I think it was Kenner at the time, they had the merchandising rights to make all the figurines, or what normal people would call dolls. Action figure, they're dolls. Anyway, there was such a demand for it, they actually sold an empty box at Christmas. So when 4 or 5 months later, when they actually had enough items, you could actually, it was like a crowdfunding project where you GoFundMe, you actually paid for an empty box at Christmas, like, oh wow, and then eventually as they manufactured the toys, you would actually get them.
That's okay. That's kind of, foot in line.
Yeah, that's how it works. So yeah, but now the merchandising for the sequel trilogy, no one's buying it. Like, I've seen photos of, you go into, I think Toys R Us collapsed because no one's buying Star Wars figures, but there's a whole wall of Rose Ticos because no one's buying them. There are people that do connect to Rey, but Gen X people like myself, that I must own everything. they don't buy any of it because it's boring.
You know what could have been done? It's like if you really hate someone, you give them rose sticker. You know, it's that sort of. Holy shit! I got a rose sticker. That person was really hate me.
Is this some type of voodoo? Like give him the doll of rose sticker. Yeah, it's like Homer with the stonecutters. Remove the stone of shame and attach the stone of triumph, and it's much bigger.
It's like I don't know if you remember the scene from Prison Break. There's a bit of an echo. From whose side is it?
That's Cortek. Cortek's in a well.
It's not me.
Well, it comes from you. I don't know if you can hear it.
So yeah, it's this scene where Michael Scofield is in a prison in Panama or something, and someone throws a chicken leg at him, declaring war. And we should have a scene where just throw a rose sticker.
Oh yeah. So now I would own a Paige Tico doll because she's the one that bombed. Anyway, we're halfway, and we're hoping you're enjoying the chat and having some laughs and listening to entertainment. And I don't know, next hour we may touch on some type of conspiracy. Who knows? It's Planet Collingwood. My name's Monty Dean, and you're awesome. We shall return after these short messages break promo things. And we're back with Planet Collingwood here on Revolution Radio Studio A. My name's Monty Dean, and I'm tired of living through a historical event. If you enjoyed the last hour, please go to revolution.radio or freedomslips.com and donate what you can to keep the station on air. We're 100% listener supported, 100% volunteers, just 100%. And until someone tells me I'm wrong, we are the longest running public crowdfunding project on the internet. Because I don't think paying tax is really the same. So it's interesting here in Australia, like, why don't they give out free tests? Because the government has to pay for them and you pay taxes, so they're not free. Anywho, I've been joined by Cortek and Raz. I'm sure I could make fun of that name, but I can't at the moment because that's just being rude.
Besides, everyone goes razzmatazz every time I say it. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, come on. So, come on, people.
Exactly. Like, I met a girl called Pierre, and, she doesn't need to hear it. Did you take a long walk? Yeah, that's very funny. Yeah. Very gorgeous woman, though.
Pierre. Like French Pierre or?
P-I-E-R.
Oh, my God, that's bad.
Well, yeah, I knew a girl called Harmony. Angry young woman. Don't know why she was called Harmony. I knew a Chastity.
She refused to sing?
I know Chardonnay.
I know a soft red when I see one. What the hell am I talking about? Now I've just got Scottish women, the Celts and the redhead. Oh, talking about Ireland earlier. Oh, just we have had a clarification. It's the Olympia. No, the Olympic. Yeah, Olympia, not the Olympic. Yeah, the Olympic.
Thank you, adjudicators.
Yeah, Brian Smith. There you go. So we have a listener. Hopefully they're still listening. I'm just being silly. I know people listen. Because, why would you go onto the YouTube channel and click onto the show and let it run for 38 minutes just to spite me?
Just to spite me.
Yeah, this would give him a false sense of security. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, that's the fun part of being a quiet corner. What is it? The most secret show on the internets.
So I think it's week 97. Sorry, 97.
Well, if you work backwards, so if it's around about, I think it's the 16th or 17th of March. If we go from the Victorian lockdowns,
it was like 104 by then, right?
Yes, that should be 104. So if you go backwards, it's probably about 60. No, sorry. Damn you, Cortex, Corset, whatever your name is.
Corsets.
Yeah, core sets. 2 words.
Apparently somewhere we're so in the future that apparently somewhere they've released eye drops as reading glasses.
Yeah, some of it's weird. Like, I mean, I'm amazed it's the 19th day of the year at the moment. Like, see, that's the thing about one day at a time. The calendar just flies by.
it does seem to be going by a lot more,
Ooh,
doing
that's a
less.
long link. All right, what did you post?
19 to 22. What happened to that?
20 what? You're using numbers again.
I thought it was supposed to be going fast when you were having fun, but the saying seems to be able to. We can throw that out now, I think.
See, well, now, see, with the sun going into its 400 or 500 year cycle, which happened 400, 500 years ago. Didn't really think about that sentence, ladies and gentlemen. Give or take. It's the morn to minimum.
Mean and mum. Mean and mum. Mean and mum.
Oh, just what I need, a French speaker to tell me how to speak friggin' English.
Yes.
And thank you. Yeah, I like to go into a fish and chip shop and ask for a Mexican chips. See, that's a local reference. Now, because medium chips, that would be good. My point being is the sun seems to be playing funny buggers, which is an Australian term, which apparently is translated into Chinese or Mandarin as ass clowns, which makes me laugh.
Is it the sun? Is it the sun playing ass clowns, or what's going on? Because this is like 3 months of ass clown weather, and I can't help but feeling we might just be leading up to some kind of world movie night still.
Well, who knows? It could be. We have to get through 22 to get to 23, and then 24 you have the US elections where that's just going to be.
That's
comedic.
The Ask Clown Olympics.
Yeah. Where you're gonna, will it be Biden, Hillary, Trump, or someone else? And would
Who
anyone
cares?
care?
No one's got any faith in any of this system anymore, so it doesn't matter.
We need your
They
vote.
still haven't figured that out.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. You can't bring that up. The censorship's getting greater. They want to tax unvaccinated people now, even though it's proven that people with the vaccine, mind you, they're changing the definition of vaccines because if you haven't got your booster, you're not vaccinated, and it's just clown world on steroids.
It's like when Kentucky Fried Chicken had to actually take chicken out of their name.
No, it was fried.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I thought they couldn't be defined as chicken because they'd stuffed them up so much with hormones.
No. Well, they went to KFC because they thought marketing-wise, having fried in the title, people would think it's unhealthy.
Oh. Okay.
And I was watching, I think it's season 2 of Stranger Things, and they had KFC, but they called it KFC. It's 1984. It's not called KFC.
Yeah, you
and also,
totally blown this whole show for me. Thanks, guys.
It took me right out of the story. Mind you, I do play an interesting game where I watch TV shows. Like another show that I'm watching 11 shows at once. My brain's just having a hernia. Peaky Blinders. If you like English crime, you watch Peaky Blinders. But when they do, yes, you do. And I'll see you in 2 months when you because it's 5 seasons, 6 episodes. It's very British. The thing is, I watch these TV shows, and it happens in not Cheeky Blinders. It's Stranger Things, chemtrails. They didn't exist back then, but because they're filming now. Like even with Narcos, where they're outdoors and you've got a tense scene between the DEA and the drug traffickers, and they're firing, and then they do a wide shot of the sky, and there's like 3 or 4 chemtrails, and well, that's just ruined it.
Well, we're here for 2 weeks. We couldn't get clear skies, so we just took the shot.
Mm-hmm. Even though the meteorology, the weather people. Yeah. I've been to the cooking sherry again. Words, whatever, dude. They're trying to justify it. Oh no, these straight white lines are natural, right? From a plane.
I first really noticed them in modern media being integrated into relatively contemporary animations that they were putting out. And all of a sudden, I think maybe it was a Cars movie or a Cars spin-off, which had planes in it or something like that. And, it was just there all of a sudden in the media, being put out. Yeah.
Yep. It's all part of the narrative where like the whole mainstream media is like, COVID is the plague and everyone's going to die. And here we are too. I haven't been I haven't been sick in the last 2 years.
No, neither.
I mean, I don't go out and talk to people because I love people. That's why I don't go near them.
And when I do, it's in a biohazard suit, just because I don't trust them.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, now here's a question. Like, if it's that bad, where are the bio bins for the masks?
It's not. I expected, public burnings because it was so bad by now. It reminds me of a bit of footage of, I think, the Bush family, or it was, at least a couple of them, maybe little Bush and his sister, and she came running up with this kind of note with obviously kind of data, and you could just see the energy going on between them. Like, here's some numbers, look how bad they are. Oh, a little bit of a head shake, and it was right in that whole how bad is this kind of thing period. You could just kind of see it, and I just simply don't think. I think a lot of people with a lot of money who want to try and control things have been sold ideas. I think the universe is that much of a comedian that it can just change things if it wants to.
Oh yeah, the prime creator writes the best jokes.
Best jokes.
Someone who is not the prime creator, but he has good jokes too. See what I did there? Hey, it's a positive segue. We've been joined by Harry, another Victorian. How are you, Harry?
Actually, I'm a prime creator. I have created a few children, actually. That's pretty primal. But yeah.
No, prime, not primal. Not primal
creator. Did you call any of them prime?
Hey,
that counts.
I'm good, apart from getting bashed in the head from busking on the streets a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, there's a story there.
Tell us more if you can put a positive spin on it.
Yeah, well,
without swearing.
Obviously, the dude didn't like Joni Mitchell, Both Sides Now song, because I started singing that, and it was actually outside Aussie Paul's local shop, local food works, whatever it is. And in West Heidelberg, and it's a bit of a rough neighbourhood. And this guy, he goes, I won't say the F word. He called me the F off as he walked into the door, and I started singing the song. And I said, back to him, F you.
Well, okay. A clue. Cortek, a clue. Yeah, go ahead. What happened then?
I got my notebook out.
Then I was singing, and then I was on to the next song was Jack and Diane or whatever I was singing, and then it came out, and I just laughed, and I said, the little effer, and just kept singing, and then he went into a big hissy fit and started throwing, literally trying to peg coins at my head.
Yeah, I don't think it's the singing. I think it's the insults. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
He sounds like a troubled soul. It wasn't your fault. It was just a day he was having. You got caught in the middle of it, and the fact that you kind of exacerbated things.
He
just
certainly
a little
got
bit.
caught, all right, because it was all on camera, and yeah, it was quite funny actually.
Ouch.
Yeah, because then he came over and pounded me a few in the head, but I just want to protect my gear, like my guitar and and speaker and everything, and and then he took off.
So Harry, this is another thing I was talking about recently. A company called Behringer. They're kind of just taking up a lot of. They're trying to remake a whole bunch of vintage gear or whatever kind of patents they can get their hands on.
They've been around for a while. They're part of the sound community with either like microphones or headphones, and a
lot of people don't really respect what they're doing from taking the old patents or just copying what they can get away with and making it cheap. And I wasn't really sure about it. I just want to get your opinion, what you think of companies that are doing that. I think a lot of the people who are making these amazing synths, these Moogs, these early kind of amazing synths that are so expensive to get your hands on. I mean, you probably wouldn't even get one. But if you wanted to, it's really super expensive. I think those guys who made those things never really wanted to be kind of synth makers, which is why they put the price right up. So a company coming in like Behringer and copying these things and making them cheap to put out, even though maybe the quality of the hardware is not maybe 70% when you're used to 100% or whatever, they're getting the things out, and you don't. I mean, it's just a comment about the expensive nature of music equipment and electronic music equipment, and I'm kind of almost thinking that Behringer's doing a good job now. You know,
Well,
just getting stuff out there so people can start playing with it.
I've had a great amp from Behringer. I had years and years ago. It was a keyboard amp. It's 4 channels, and it's a great thing. You know, one of the pots is, but that's probably you know, nightclubs or whatever. But yeah, I got no problem with that. In fact, I've got rid of. I've still got it, but I've upgraded to a Bose S1, which is a great little unit. Actually, it really is quite powerful, and it's portable. It's got a lithium battery in it, and it's tiny, and I've got a backpack for it, and that's what I take around with me now.
No. Well, yeah, the level of technology in music making. If you've got, I mean, Pro Tools is not that expensive. I've got Logic on my Mac, and I think it's like $500. And it's like, well, just use GarageBand. It's like, yes, but you can do professional level stuff on GarageBand, but it's limited with what you can do. With Logic, it's studio quality.
Yeah, Logic sounds different. It sounds, there's a certain quality to Logic, even over PC stuff, because of the wavetable emulations, kind of better, just better.
Yeah, if I'm going to use Axe Effects, sure, yeah, but guitar modeling, where you don't need to carry around 17 different styles, like a Fender Cab or a Marshall or a Mesa Boogie or anything else like that. You can all be in this one rack mount. And Raz wants to know what's happened, so I'll try and.
All right.
He's back.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So I dropped on my side.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure. You were saying and the alphabet agencies freaked out because they thought you were a audio terrorist.
No, what happened was I think my VPN just had to cycle through, so it disconnected the whole thing.
Well, there's that too, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yes, like Axe Effects, where it's just one little rack mount, which is a foot long and 3 or 4 inches high, and you can create any sound possible because that's the level of digital sampling and everything else like that. So you apart from unless you've got an electronic drum kit to get that human feel. The only issue you really have is getting good vocals. Everything else can be done through a line, like being plugged in, and that's kind of why there are so many musicians now on Spotify, and just you can buy. There's not, and also I like how technology is moving forward. Quick side note, Disney Plus has not released any of its shows on physical media. It's just so you can stay a subscriber to Disney Plus. The thing is, though, people say, there's no market for CDs, DVDs, or Blu-ray. Then explain vinyl.
That's different, though. It's got good artwork.
I know. The thing about consumerism is the customer will always like something physical. There's just no way out of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, being a metalhead, people would just buy the record in 1987, and while listening to it, just stare at that cover, which is like a 12-inch by 12-inch, and like, wow. Then the CD came out, like, I need a magnifying glass to try and read this thing.
So tiny.
And then you had Napster with the MP3, and now it was downloading, but they've gone from that. It's like, oh no, you don't have to download, you'll stream it. And so people don't actually own physical things. They believe that, I can stream this at any time. But it's an element of control in that. Do you remember there was a TV show by Jesse Ventura called Conspiracy? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was an episode about, I believe it was the JFK episode, and people actually downloaded it to their set-top box. I can't remember the name of the network.
Okay.
But the network actually went into everyone's set-top box at home and removed the episode from
the downloaded media.
Yeah, And so, so you can actually like TiVo or even Foxtel, where you can record stuff if you miss something, and it's on the hard drive in your house. But that episode was purged from the system, and so if you actually saved it to watch later, the company removed it. That's the problem with like Disney Plus or streaming. You don't. That's why one reason I like physical media is like I can listen to the Beastie Boys' Hello Nasty album anytime I like, as long as it's got electricity and a working record turntable.
I have no support for streaming, Spotify, stuff like that. It's just not another step in the long line of things and that do nothing for the artists. That do nothing for the artists. That do nothing to put the artist first and foremost.
There's no money, but they do. Sorry to step in there. The idea is you get exposure and marketing. It's like, well, if say Harry releases a single, I'm sure he'll rather have the 2,000 people pay $5 to actually own the single, not get 2,000 streams and get 20 cents.
But marketing's a big part of it too. I mean, nothing's marketed these days, and it seems like there is no music. There is, back when, ages and ages ago, when things were fully marketed and there were A&R departments and all that kind of stuff, there was a lot of news. There was a lot of stuff being pushed. I don't know. Maybe it was just noise.
The easiest way is you don't have to be famous and all that sort of stuff. You can be infamous like me, and I just get out on the street. Just go and play on the street. It's raw, it's live, and people love it, And I look down on my case. I'm freely exercising a gift, and they freely give, and it's a blessing at the end of the day, at the end of the session. Like the other day, just found this little hideaway, this little shopping centre called Diamond Valley, just off the Greensborough bypass, and I was playing there, and this woman, she goes, I've been sitting, probably in her, say, 60s or late 50s, early 60s. And she come up to me, very attractive woman, and she says, I was listening to you in my car, and I had an out-of-body experience. You took me back in time. And I thought, wow. And she said, and it turns out that her and her friends get together in the afternoon and has a coffee at the coffee shop I was playing outside of. So I've made arrangements with her to come back on a day when they're all going to be there and sing some songs for them.
Nice. Yeah, unfortunately, the stuff I listen to, I'm not sure how many people want to listen to Slayer's Angel of Death at a cafe.
It's a bit of a classic.
Yeah, I know it's
metal cafes could be the next thing.
Yeah.
I'm completely opposite. I just sit really easy listening. Like I think it was Cat Stevens. How can I tell you that I love you? And
if you know your audience, yeah. Bill Burr, he was on Joe Rogan. He's on Joe Rogan a lot. That's the show, not the actual man, because that would be awkward.
That would be awkward.
Especially if they film it like, but he was, get off him. I am. No, not like that. Go and stand in the corner. Bill was saying he's had some younger comedians like, should I sign a record contract and join a label or something like that? And he said, well, no, because if you're doing paid gigs and you have a small audience, put it out yourself on your own website, and if you sell 20,000 copies at $10, you won't be huge, but you'll make enough. You'll make a good enough living. And it's like watching Narcos. Oh, we've got no money. You earn $200 million a month. Where does it go?
Yeah. Well, $150 a day for 2 sessions that I do is, our average, or maybe usually more than that. But, that's easy money for me. That's nothing. And it's doing things I love to do.
Plus, if you're making people feel good, If I go past a busker or something like that, and they're putting music into somewhere that doesn't have music, it's that live music thing. Jeez, come on, live music renaissance.
Yeah, unfortunately, here in Victoria, No,
It's illegal to dance and stand up.
Oh, there is that
whilst
as well.
listening to music. Unless you belong to Hillsong.
This is just stop, you evil man. This is no disrespect towards Harry. Harry is getting a better audience at the moment because the clubs and pubs and venues, they're only allowed 50% patronage, which is very hard to run a business. On top of that, they have the no singing, no dancing aspect to it. It's like, my God, we're living in Footloose now. I'm Kevin Bacon, damn it.
Where is Kevin Bacon?
And that the Hillsong reference that Cortek brought up is that certain festivals in New South Wales were cancelled or postponed because
within
of
3 days of them going on, like the last dozen festivals trying to bankrupt festival organisers.
Yeah, but the flip side is they allowed Hillsong to do exactly the same thing because it was classed as a religious service, and you've got footage of them, and it's a concert. They're playing Christian rock, whatever, and not my cup of tea, but they seem to enjoy it. But the hypocrisy of like, oh no, that's for Jesus.
That's Christian rock. They generally stay within a 75 centimeter limit of their seating. They don't really. They just don't.
No, there's no seating.
That's kind of what they said. That was their excuse.
Yeah, but the footage was that they were crowd surfing. And it's like, well, you can't, because I know the guys in Frenzal Rom, a punk band that's been around since 1994. They've been on a couple of festivals that have been postponed, and they pointed out, well, hang on, is this because we're not Hillsong? But punk, metal, rock, even just basic rock like Foo Fighters, that's the devil's music.
What if everyone only just went to Hillsong then and made it better because there was more better people there that weren't so shit? And or does it? You can't get in unless you sign up 30% of your weekly wage, can you? That's part of it, isn't it?
Well, we could figure out and say that Slayer is a Christian band.
Slayer is a Christian band.
Yeah. It's not a positive Christian band. It's a negative Christian
Slayer
band.
Slayer is a positive Christian band.
Yeah. Okay, we know where Cortex stands then. Slayer's like, people in Slayer, they're a satanic band. It's like, really, 3 atheists and an ex-Catholic. Yeah, they're satanic. And it's just art form. They don't mean, they want everyone to have fun. And it's, not all about killing. And it is a form of art. It's an art form. Now, there are actually satanic bands. And it's fascinating. Like people still protest Marilyn Manson. I don't know if it's because of religious things or how bad he's gotten. I can't remember what they're protesting.
I think it was because of his wonky eye.
Let's just what do you call a guitar maker?
A luthier.
Yeah, where does that come from?
Lucius Maximus, the first guitar maker.
Lucifer.
I believe it was Lucius Maximus.
But isn't Lucifer a weaponized word? Because that just means light bringer. Yeah. And someone in the satanic side, oh, that's ours. It's like, but...
Actually...
sounds a bit Spanish, too.
The angel Azrael. Azrael brought music and wild women and all that sort of stuff, apparently, back in the day.
And the Roman god Dionysus. I think it's Dionysus. Or Dennis. Anyway, there's the god of drink and partying there. He's quite nice.
Yeah. Good guy.
Yeah, but those wacky Romans.
Yep. And, at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day even, I like to get out there, and it's like my protest to everything that's rubbish, because I don't wear a mask anywhere. And
it'd be hard to sing with one.
It's got to be, to get past this, it takes constant vigilance of challenging it every day, not to get stuck in it. Well, it's easier just to put a mask on in places. It's got to be pushed every day to get pushed over.
Yeah,
there's 20 cents.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly what happens. People go up to go and throw money in my case. Go, thank you. Like, I don't know what the hell they said, but thank you anyway.
Have you had anyone? See, if I ever saw you, I'll go up and give you $10. It's like, that's for you to stop. But I'm just joking.
Yeah, that happened. Happened. Oh, a classic. Again, at the same place where that idiot went berserk. But the last time I played there, this old guy in a frame wearing a beard, really frail old guy. I found out his name, Teddy. But yeah, he come ambling up, and it took him for ages to get up to me. Then he positioned himself 3 times in different directions right in front of me as I'm singing a song. And then he scrabbled through his bags and he pulled out this $5. It took him ages just to hop 3 or 4 steps towards me, and he handed it to me. He goes, "Has to stop playing till I get around the corner." And I just lost it, you know. It was just crap.
Well played, sir.
There's a Seattle band called the Melvins, and like tuned down to H, or J. That's how. But they actually released on their CD Pure Digital Silence, and there's nothing for 9 minutes. It's just watching the CD click over, like the timing on it. So yeah, if anyone does that again, it's like I'm just going to quickly do. This gentleman's asked for a Pure Digital Silence by the Melvins, and just stand there for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Yeah.
I think that's what we went to see. We went to Dis, and we lost that fun of people playing around with stuff like that on records, you know, hidden tracks and weird stuff like that.
Oh, they're annoying. Well, especially on CD, because like, you know, I play them through my iTunes, or which Apple calls music. Like, yeah, thanks for that. And you know, this track's 35 minutes long, but it's only got 4 minutes of music on it. Like, you cheeky little. Just have the silence as an extra track, and I can remove that.
Yeah, no one seems to have time for it anymore.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing as well. St Kilda, which is a very bohemian type of suburb. Back in the day, like in the 1800s, it was a seaside resort because it took forever to get from by horse. But you could tell there's a shift in the industry because they realized it was too expensive to have live bands on. And so out of the 400 venues, 300 got rid of the bands and just put in 2 decks for DJs.
And then it went to pokies.
Yeah, that's very, that's actually some of the venues is like, well, we should just put pokies in and we'll still survive and be open. But there's a famous bar here in Melbourne called the Cherry Bar, where they're only open, I think, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they don't have bands on and there's no dancing, but they're still trying to survive. And they're sort of they could rebel, but they'll lose everything. And so there's that. They're not collaborating with the government. Room? No, they don't have a pokies room.
Oh, that's a step in the right direction.
Well, yeah, it's a rock venue. It's a live music venue. It's the size of a shoebox and only holds 400 people. But
still,
yeah,
that's some of the best. You know, you get your up.
It used to be on AC/DC Lane, but for whatever reason they moved.
We need some kind of renaissance, starting with Kevin Bacon.
Well, you have to figure out this whole pandemic vaccine schmozzle.
None of it makes any sense. And if you have a conversation about any of it or any of it holistically, it can't. It has.
Well, it's not about health. The tennis player, Djokovic, that guy, the number one tennis player in the world at the moment. Yeah. He was actually deported because they thought he may cause dissent. It wasn't a medical decision at all.
Mm-hmm. The narrative is king. The narrative is king always.
It's about control, and there's 2 groups of people: one that don't want, that do want international travel, and one that don't want to give it back, and don't want to give any kind of freedom back.
The irony is, by kicking them out, they've caused dissent. Because there was a lot of people in Australia. It's like, well, I got a vaccine, so he should leave. And it's like, well, that's not based on health. That's just you not owning your responsibility of your actions.
Yeah, they're making martyrs out of ideas, which is even worse for them.
Yeah, and apparently the French Open is talking about something. And I'm wondering how long this will go on. I don't see a New World Order kicking in because at some point, Kazakhstan's a perfect example. They went as far as if you wanted to do any banking, you needed a vaccine passport. And less than 12 hours, the government resigned and half the country was on fire.
Was that a deeper story about what that was about, was it?
That's part of the fuel prices doubled, and they had the vaccine passports with the financial side of things.
Because I heard about that through a crypto kind of lens, and they were just talking about a lot of people operating it from over there, and turning that off was really disruptive.
Yeah, well, they shut down the internet because they do that to try and quell the rebellion. But the thing is, as we know, like, let's save time. I'll ask this question: what is a institution, financial, just any institution on the planet Earth that isn't got corruption in it?
It's a trick question. That's a trick question.
Well, instead of saying, well, is this corrupt? This corrupt. It's like, what isn't corrupt? And that's the main problem on the planet is like, oh, there's an awakening. Yeah, it's a political awakening. It's a good start. Everything is corrupt, and the corruption's got out of hand.
Everything, it seems.
Yeah,
everything that has any kind of attraction to any kind of major power or any chance to make any kind of money cannot corrupt itself. How have we not learnt this?
Because there's psychopaths in control.
Not for long.
Well, yeah, 10. It could be a decade away, but still, that's not long in the greater scheme of things. Daniel Andrews. Why did I bring him up? No, the CEO of Pfizer actually has come out and said, "Oh, the 2 doses are ineffective," and I instantly thought, refund. Because you made $37 billion in the last 3 months.
Yeah, well, that was part of the initial deal that they made, and where that minister, she goes, well, what this is, people want to know if they get adversely affected by these things, whether they can have any kind of recourse through the courts and stuff like that. And they go, well, yeah, it's not about that. If something happens, you can sue the company, fine, you can do that. And when they go, well, what is all these secret deals about? And they go, well, her phrase was, it's about the flow-on effects, as if they entered into a deal for multiple years for something or other. Anyway, over.
Yeah, they have the National Cabinet here in Australia, which is the federal government, and they talk to the leaders of the state governments and territory and stuff like that. They've made that secret, and it's like, why? What did you say? It's a health problem. Why is there a national security of just buying vaccines to help people? And you've what?
How are governments allowed to get away with withholding the truth for 5 decades, and then when that time comes around, going, we might just not say anything about this now because it wouldn't look good for us right now.
Oh yeah,
so see in 50 years.
Yeah, well, the JFK files, even the Biden administration are umming and ahhing of releasing stuff. And just looking at Oliver Stone's JFK movie, which came out in 1990, and then the end of last year, it was on Showtime. He has a documentary going back to JFK, going through the looking glass. And since 1990, they've found more evidence that the official story doesn't make any sense at all, but they're still trying to hold on. It's like I still find it very amusing that people think, we need disclosure for aliens from the government. Why?
That was
really?
Last year. That happened last year.
No.
Yeah, Navy came out and they said, we've got this couple of videos.
Yeah, but then
we don't really know what it is.
Then they released a report which basically going,
Nah.
They still haven't.
We know we said something, but then we've got other people over here that say something else, so we know.
If you go with the story, and I mean that in a neutral sense, the whole from Roswell till now, that's 47. So that's, I'm trying to do maths now. 70. Yeah, it's 75 years they've been lying. And so, because they've been lying for so long,
you can't. The whole problem with setting up those kind of deals is you can't stop lying. When that 50 years thing comes around, you can't just go, "Here's our lies," because chances are you've put more and more lies into that situation.
And I'll put it to you on the flip side. You have someone like the Galactic Historian who can tap into the Akashic records and talks about different alien groups. And as another example, Bashar. Not the leader of Syria.
Not literally.
Like he's a channel thing, and I like him. Oh, he's fake. Well, then Daryl Anker should be given 17 Oscar awards because he hasn't been caught out in a lie. He hasn't. He's been acting since 1984. Like it's
How Bashar?
no, the bizarre Bashar. Bashar is bizarre. But my point is, you really don't need to have the government to give the disclosure. Why do you need the government? You need permission from the government to prove that aliens are real. Like, as Viking would say, just look in the mirror. You'll see an alien there.
This whole thing just seemed to be just one big PR relevance project for the government to even seem like they were necessary or relevant to anything more than being just this drain on society, this governor that slows everything down and takes from it but doesn't give anything back. You're kind of like the church.
Well, since the end of World War II, that's when government decided to become big mother and try and control everything. And what we're seeing is there's pushes of trying to, like the Chinese government, who suck. That's
what you really think.
Yeah, I did. That's my. What's your political analysis of China? They suck, not the people, the government. They're doing that whole social credit score and everything else like that. The government wants to control everything, and I just want to be like most people. I want to be left alone. If you're on Twitter, go look at Jordan Peterson and how he's reacting to the Canadian government. It is pure, utter diamond level gold comedy. Because like Mr. Peterson decided, I'll get the 2 jabs and you'll leave me alone. And so now he's basically F off. You know, anytime Trudeau says something, it's a joy to behold.
Well, everyone should be like that. Everyone got sold this deal without, where the goalposts kept moving and they weren't really aware of the terms, apart from you're doing this for other people. It's not, don't think about yourself, that you're doing this for others. Okay, it's a big guilt trip for you and others.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I've had family members like, you're not vaccinated. What about, the person you care for? Like, my mum and stepdad, they understand where I'm coming from. They think I'm mad, but they acknowledge my free will.
They acknowledge that nothing has really changed in that relationship fundamentally.
Well,
anyway,
yeah, if there was a problem, they'll mention it.
Or politely you would mention it. You don't want to be that person who comes back 4 weeks later and say you've got syphilis or whatever.
Yeah, maybe pick a different disease.
COVID.
You know how syphilis is spread, right?
COVID.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Thank you. Just pause for reflection on that. Ew. We're not that type of family.
Cholera.
Yeah, well, see now, sanitation. See, most things of it's sanitation. Like, we got rid of polio. Yeah, it wasn't from the vaccine. The vaccine killed a lot of people, and at the same time, people got indoor plumbing. So, it could be a mixture of both.
Bit of both.
And since, was it the 1700s? This whole anti-vaxxer idea, and that term's been weaponized, it goes back centuries. I was watching a revolutionary documentary. I may have mentioned this last week. John Adams was talking to his wife, and the wife was basically saying, our young boys had the smallpox vaccine 3 times and it didn't take, and then he got smallpox. And I'm thinking, I wonder why. I wonder if there's a connection.
Yeah, well, you talk indigenous tribes here in Australia, they're all anti-vaxxers because they got this all given those blankets with smallpox, and the water hole's poisoned and
get yourself warm with these.
It goes on and on and on.
Well, yes, it's interesting about that. Like the first thing, the British gave smallpox blankets to the Native Americans. It's like, really, 50 years before germ theory was created. Interesting. I'm not saying it didn't happen because those people with guns.
That's just what they want you to think.
Actually, Harry, because you have a connection with the locals. Can you remember when, there was a referendum in 1967 for the Australian people to acknowledge that Aboriginals are human. So, like, that's type of bureaucracy we're dealing with in the government, where, they're savages. It's like, well, have you seen how they've treated the land for 200 years? They're not getting their bond back.
Yeah.
200,000.
There's
a million.
a big fight. There's a big move towards everyone migrating towards Canberra to take over Old Parliament House because everyone's had enough basically, and it's to start putting the Aboriginal laws into place, LOREs, rather than the law that's done by this mercantile trade, pirate regime that's taken over the world.
Sounds cool. Tell me more.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't. I don't. I'm not a big fan of going back to traditional Aboriginal law because some of them are harsh. Like, oh, you stole a Snickers, so I have to be speared in the leg. What? Hang on.
Yeah.
But the maritime law, the maritime law, like there is common law, and the system's being tweaked because of corruption, and so on paper, most of the legal system works. It's the corruption that makes it doesn't.
Yeah,
the system works, but not for who you think.
It doesn't work because I found out the hard way with my divorce and everything. It does not work at all. It's a user pay system. If you've got enough money, it'll work.
Yeah, exactly. That's not what it's supposed to be based on, though.
There's no justice in that. There's no weight. There's no balance of scales of justice of liberty or what do you want to call it. It's nothing like that. It's how much money you've got. It gives you the leverage. And there's no justice in that at all. There's no accountability for considerations or anything like that. It's just all money paid.
There's no magic in it either. It's so very, very cheap and base thought. It's very, very, very survival based.
Well, actually, I think that the magic that's been put into the system is actually what's making it fester and rot, and it's through the corruption. Where if there was accountability, it's like we should rise up against the government and non-violent and take back our system. Like, well, who's going to enforce that? Like, I mean, the Clintons should have been in jail in 1988.
Yeah, let's start there. Let's start around. We're cleaning up some of those old wounds.
We've got to basically kick them out, basically. And
but see, for that to happen, it's logic. It sucks.
A little bit of betadine.
But that's where you get revolution. I mean, the French Revolution started out with a good idea, but 3 minutes into it, it just turned into a bloodlust.
I heard it started out because there was too much cakes eaten or something like that, and it was a big sugar rush.
Yes, that's right, Cortek. The whole French Revolution was based on bakeries.
I'm pretty sure.
Patisserie.
And no. I don't know the French word for no, so.
No.
Yet. No, that's Russian.
That's Russian.
Like in World War II, the numbers of now there was a small small religious. I said it. The Jews lost 6 million. The Russians lost 27 million. Like, so if we're going to go scoreboard here.
Well, that was by the Bolshevik takeover. There were Russian Jews who did that.
No. That was 15 years earlier. That's the end of World War I, where there was the Russian Civil War between 17 and 22. This is just from 39 to 45. There was 27 million Russians killed. Yeah, a lot of death.
Yeah. Also, though, that goes back into the 1500s with Queen Elizabeth I and Sir John Dee and Edward Kelly, the Scryer, when they
tried.
Well, yeah, well, they made a pact with the Macrobes, who were the, super intelligent or the above world intelligent, let's say, entities who told them what they had to do to get off planet. And because they knew the story. The royals knew the story of why they were there. Because that's all the, hidden.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of the show you've listened to, Harry, but earlier Raz was pointing out that timeline paradoxes, because there's been so much timeline warfare on this planet. There's actually 72 founder beings. So we don't come from one place. There's 72 starting points.
Not founder beings. Not founder beings. There's 72 original variants of our body, what we call DNA skin suit or DNA vehicle.
Yeah.
So what happened was Earth had a body of sort. Imagine the body as being like a clothes. So you go into that shopping mall and you're the first person to wear it. Except we travel back in time, and someone else goes in and becomes the first person who wear it. Then travels back in time, then a third person becomes the first person who wear it. They've done this 72 times. But since time itself doesn't really exist, and Earth is a divine feminine planet, she has to accommodate all 72 as her children. So all 72 are technically the first species. All 72 are technically the first wearer.
Yeah, and you can see why it's a complete schmozzle. Like, you know, talking to someone about this, about timelines and everything, you need 8 whiteboards. Even then.
Apart from those stone relics over there, we can't get rid of quick enough.
Well, that's the history that we know of is completely messed up. Like around in the 1500s, it looks like there was a comet that exploded or landed in the UK. Or was it at 500 or something like that? And that's just one thing that the historians keep quiet. In Egyptian history, the 2 brothers, but they lived 400 years apart. I'm like, sorry, what? What? You know, it's the false narrative doesn't hold up if you find the anachronisms that stick out. Like
that Egyptian king list has a lot of those rulers being 400 and 500 years apart. Like that's the average age, you know.
That's because the firmament was in place at the time, which is not existing anymore. Well, it's existing is in the Van Allen belts or the outer magnetosphere, but there was a watery firmament. The mother had a membrane or a skin or a womb lining, which allowed dimensions on Earth to be resonate in harmony, so we could be multidimensional on Earth. And the sun gates, the star gates were open. We could put other star systems, other cosmic, what do you call them, celestial realms, and it was all open. But some buggers came in, took the system down, and we've been fighting and scrabbling and hiding the knowledge, and and a lot of it was lost because a lot of the people who had that understanding went off planet anyway.
Yeah, it's been turned into an energy farm, and like all the stuff that all this hidden knowledge and wisdom, and that's why it seems interesting. I'm tired of living through a historical event. The wrong bit of information that gets out into the general public. How did I describe it to Andrew? The herd of cows are going to rebel because it's like, wait a minute, we're not cattle, we're actually divine beings. And so they want it, and it still comes down to watching Monsters Inc. If you've seen that movie, you know what I'm about to say. If you haven't, it's worth watching once. It's John Goodman and Billy Crystal, and it's a kids movie. And it's funny. Steve Buscemi's the villain. Spoiler alert.
The cows are not going to rebel. A portion of the cows will rebel. A portion of the cows will just sleep. The cows are extremely traumatized right now. The thing is, we have to wait for the galactic rays to reach us in a couple of decades, and that will instantly
Nothing happens instantly. Nothing happens instantly. People are going to do this at different times, and that's how it's done.
And the thing is, like, we may get raised to come in, but if you haven't done the work yourself, it won't apply to you because it's an inside job.
Click over.
Let me finish the Monsters Inc. Example. In the film, they go into kids' bedrooms and scare them, and they use the energy from the screams to power their worlds. And then through the movie. John Goodman's character, I can't remember the character's name, but he makes the little girl laugh, and the the energy collector explodes. And short version, spoiler alert, they realize if they make the children laugh, they can get more energy from laughter instead of screaming.
Yeah. I love a bit in that. They're actually how they're monitoring that is this rotating globe of little LEDs lighting up in these different bits of where maybe the Luge kind of farming was successful in trying to scare people and grab that energy somehow, something like that.
Yeah. The Luge that's been the negative energy that is being produced as Luge, it's just a flavor. So like if we use laughter, it's just going to be a different flavor. And so we could still, and also if we're, multi-dimensional creator, divine celestial beings, super awesome. That's the short version. And if we're in abundance, we'll give the energy away because we're in pure abundance. But we've been stuck in survival mode, just trying to stay alive, and they keep sucking the life out of us, just like my ex-girlfriend. Anyway, back to you.
Hey,
Have some faith.
Can we agree on this talk that everything's vibration?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, go on. Yes.
He said that a little bit. No. He's right. He's right.
I didn't finish his sentence.
Let's take a next step to that we all resonate at certain frequencies and we exist at that level, okay? The most solid state frequencies we have on the planet are the crystalline ores, are the rocks, okay? They're the ones that don't change as much as anything else. Like we change over time as we grow older, we develop, all sorts of things in our bodies and change.
Yeah. I don't mean to be rude, but we're running out of time, so come on, short story.
Okay, point being is we capture the songs of the praises of the rocks to God, and we can set up the temples that need the crystalline temples that people have seen in their dreams or whatever to restore the firmament. And then that's when those other beings will come back and say, well done, you've taken care of the planet. That's what I'm about.
Okay, yeah, all right. Raz, right of reply, but that's the thing about the kaleidoscope of reality. Everyone's going to have a different aspect, but it's still the same thing. Go ahead.
I wouldn't. Just the last thing. Everything you said made sense, and we have a lot of people working on the grid right now, and the planet doesn't really need taking care of. She can take care of herself. Just something from Mummy Earth, because Mummy Earth is been through a lot, and believe me, right now she really doesn't give a crap about what's going on. She's just waiting.
Are we useless appendages like our what do you call it? When you get that thing, information in your gut. Are we useless appendages or what? We're here for a reason.
I don't know. We'll have to come back next week and talk about that, because we're at the end of Planet Collingwood. We'll be back in 6 days and 22 hours. I may have had a shower by then. A big thank you to Cortek, Harry, and Raz. My name is Monty Dean. You've been awesome. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. See you soon, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.